All right, so apparently the KDA cards have been revealed, quote unquote. Apparently they were leaked by some country somewhere. I'm not gonna not gonna name names here, but they were spoiled or leaked or whatever you want to call it, which means we can go ahead and go over these cards and our thoughts on how they're going to affect the meta, especially alongside the patch notes from yesterday. Link will be in the description below, and a card on one of these sides. Should be interesting to see how this is going to affect the meta, and I know everybody's probably more excited for the next patch because there'll be a whole hell of a lot more changes. But for now, we got these KDA cards. So as always, my name is Justin, also known as Shit Just Works, and today we are going over these new KDA event cards. So strap yourselves in. Let's get through all 5. Alright, and before we get started, as always, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and the bell. That's right, turn on the bell so that you get notified when something does go live. So technically, I know I said 5 cards, but technically there's 6 because one of them adds one to your deck. So, but anyways, that's actually the first one we're going to go over. So to get started here, we have Go Hard. I really was going to try to say that name without laughing, but it didn't work. So this card, I'm pretty sure that I actually like the songs, first off, all the KDA songs. I love all the Riot songs, the League of Legends songs, to be honest with you. But I'm pretty sure they say this in the song. So anyways, drain 1 from a unit and shuffle 2 copies of me into your deck. So this is a 1 mana slow speed. All right, first off, 1 mana drain 1, that's not bad, even though it's slow speed. If you compare this to something like Parlay, then it's actually kind of in line as far as that strength is concerned. Now, does that mean it's going to be? It's in Shadow Isle, so does that mean it's really going to be played? Probably not, because there's Vile Feast and Unspeakable Horror, which are just unarguably or inarguably better. Unarguably and inarguably. We're gonna go with inarguably. So, once you've cast me, referring to the card, 3 times. Transform all copies of that card everywhere into Pack Your Bag. So if you're playing 1, it shuffles 2 into your deck. If you're playing 3, you'd get 6 more into your deck, etc., etc. Plus those extra copies would then also shuffle more copies. So this is a never-ending thing. It always adds cards to your deck. So one thing with this is that it does technically counter the Maokai win condition. Funny enough, ironically enough, it's actually in the same region as Maokai, right? So this next card, though, that it turns into, Pack Your Bag. So 1 mana slow speed again, deal 5 to all enemies and the enemy nexus, and then it reverts all the other cards back to Go Hard. So it increases your chance of drawing this, but then once you play the first one, it goes back to Go Hard, and then you basically have to reset it and play 3 more, and then it goes back to Pack Your Bag. So this is interesting. I don't necessarily think it's good. I've always wanted to use cards like this with the Messenger, or Messenger Sigil, I should say, which is the 1 mana burst speed, shuffle 5 messengers into your deck. I was playing around with something before. It was kind of like this weird stall Maokai deck with Messenger Sigil, where you get that Celestial +2/+2 to everything. You just have infinite messengers, and you draw your deck, and you play your Maokai, and you win by deck out. This would also support that. This would be very similar, and then when you draw a bunch with the messengers, you actually have a lot of then AoE spells that you could get with this Pack Your Bag. So I think it's interesting. It opens up some interesting archetypes and strategies, but not going to really be played right off the cut, I don't think so. But definitely interesting design. All right, so now we have Give It All. I'm going to say 2 words, and you're going to be like, this sucks. And those words are Mind Meld. Yep. Yeah, I know, right? What the hell is Mind Meld is probably what you're asking yourself. Yeah, it's a shitty card, in other words. it's pretty bad. Nobody plays it, and it was buffed. Used to cost 8. So Mind Meld is a 7 mana slow speed, and it sets all your allies' power and health to however many spells you play that game. So, ideally, it's like a finisher. You play it, everything gets super buffed, and then you attack. Obviously, Ruination kind of makes that kind of crappy. A lot of other cards, obviously, just having chump blockers. You kind of need overwhelm units if that's the case. A lot of moving parts there. This, technically, so there's this whole thing that I've seen some other people talk about this too. This says raise all allies. So we have like raise, give, grant, grow, set. There's like whole new vocabulary as to just buffing stuff. Whatever happened to simplicity, all right? So this, pretty sure the way this works is that it is permanent. So that is an added bonus. So you're basically paying one more to get the permanent buff. But there's also an additional hidden cost, so to speak, where you do have to have a unit on the field, and this is only as good as that unit's power or health, right? The highest power or health on the field. So it's kind of situational, and for that reason, I think it's actually worse than Mind Meld. Generally speaking, you're not playing this unless you're finishing the game anyways. So it seems kind of cool. You copy like an elusive unit, and now everything gets elusive because it also grants you the allied keywords as well. But like, again, maybe it's in some weird elusive deck. Problem is, it's in P and Z. Most of the elusive decks haven't really been P and Z, so I don't know. I think this card's bad. Out of the way, though. Okay, so 5 mana slow speed for the rest of the game. Allied buffs except barrier are permanent. Draw 1. So, okay. Now, my first question, and I haven't really heard of anybody mention this, and maybe I'm just missing something or misinterpreting this, so if you guys know, let me know in the comments below. My first thought is Spell Shield, and if you were to give something Spell Shield after this is activated, does that mean that that unit permanently has Spell Shield the rest of the game? Or is it just one instance of Spell Shield no matter what, and then the Spell Shield goes away after a spell happens? So, or does it? I think it should work where it keeps Spell Shield the whole game. If that's the case, because this is in Targon, which is also why I think it keeps it the whole game, because I think it was kind of meant to be, used with Spell Shield. I think this definitely has a place. I don't think it's crazy because 5 mana slow speed is kind of a big loss in tempo. But I do think there will be a deck that comes of this. I do think this is meant to be more of a Tarek type deal, some sort of Targon buff thing. There was that whole support archetype with the Mountain Sojourners and stuff that never really took off. This might allow that deck archetype to take off. So again, I really like this card, especially because it draws 1 and replaces itself. I think this is a good card design. Again, just not really sure where it's going to fit right now. It does help out the buff archetypes, though. All right, my favorite card that was on the thumbnail as well. This picture looks so sick. Like, come on, look at it. Just look at it. Like, that's a sick picture, okay? This card, I think, is redonkulous. I think this card will see a ton of play, if only because at least it just looks cool. But 5 mana, fast speed, go get it. Recall an ally to summon an exact ephemeral copy, and then that ally that you recalled to your hand, guess what? It costs 0 to replay it. Wow. Okay, so first thing is, shit, this thing's fast speed, right? So if your opponent is targeting something with like a grasp or a vengeance or whatever, this negates it. You're recalling it, and you're making it basically target the ephemeral copy. Now, on top of that, I'm just going to throw a card out there, just for shits and giggles. Rekindler? Anybody? Yeah? I mean, that's amazing. And then, you look at some champions, so Rekindler actually usually is played with a Nivea. So now you play this on a Nivea. Now the ephemeral copy gets an egg, it rebirths as a Nivea, yada, yada, yada. So that's just off the top of my head, Rekindler, Nivea. I think this is great. I think generally speaking, Rekindler, this is Ionia. So Rekindler, Anivia, this cannot be in a Rekindler, Anivia deck, let me clarify. But those two cards come to mind. So playing it in a Rekindler deck, playing it in an Anivia deck. There were Ionia versions of Anivia that really never took off. The Rekindler version ended up being better. So maybe this opens a way to an Ionia, Freljord, Anivia deck. Who knows? And last but not least, we have War Mother's Call. Field of Rush. This is a different take on War Mothers. This is I'm going to still ramp. I'm still going to build my deck based around ramp. But instead of playing the long, inevitable game, I'm going to play the I'm going to kill you now game. Which is risky, especially depending on what what archetype you're playing against. If you're playing against Shadow Isles, that might have a Ruination, then this is risky. If you're playing against another similar archetype with large removal like that, it's a little risky. So summon 2 different random champions from your hand and deck. The wording on these cards, man. Again, comment below if you want, if you have an idea. Okay, so when I read this, summon 2 different random champions from your hand and deck. So because it says hand and deck, I am actually thinking that if you have 2 champions in hand, this will summon 4 units. That's how I'm reading this. If it said hand or deck, I would imagine it's only 2. Now, if you only have 1 in hand, then, maybe it's only 3. 1 in hand, 2 in the deck. If you have 0 in hand, it's only 2 in the deck. So, which I think makes sense too, because you're not always guaranteed to have them in hand. So it's kind of a lot to have all at once, right? So then you raise your stats up to 10-10. So I'm actually curious to see if it's 4 or 2, if it's always 2, or if it could potentially be 4, just with the wording. Again, I think they're really going to clean up these 5 cards as far as wording is concerned. But yeah, it's 2 Tryndamere, or sorry, Tryndamere and a Trundle at 10-10. Yeah, feels good. Yeah. So now, I also don't know if it has to be it does say 2 different random champions. So I guess it can't be duplicates. So I guess if I'm reading this correctly, because it says summon 2 different random champions, then it will only be 2. I don't know. It's just, I don't think this card should be left that much up to interpretation. I can see it going either way. But now that I'm reading summon 2 different, I feel like it's going to be 2 champions. But again, comment below what your thoughts are. I still like War Mothers better. I like the idea that it will eventually win you the game no matter what, whereas this one feels more like, you got one chance. You don't win, too bad. You lose. And that's it. Those are the 5/6 cards from KDA, and shout out to the whole KDA design and everything. Freaking amazing, man. Like, I love what Riot's done with the music, and I'm super stoked to watch the World Ceremony, see what they come up with, especially in this remote work from home world that we've been dealing with over the last 8 months. I think they do an incredible job entertaining people and making some awesome music as of late. I'm a huge EDM, electronic, fan. I love I've been to EDC, Electric Zoo, stuff like that, and love that type of music. So love KDA. Beat Saber. Oh, dude, get it? It has KDA on it. So good. Pop Stars, so good. But anyways, that's a whole other. Maybe I'll make a Beat Saber video one day. As always, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you, and peace out.